Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing a review of a horror film from Norway. This is spoken in the Norwegian and Swedish language, English subtitles, released in the year 2011, directed by Paul Slatan, and this movie is called Babycall. And the story to Babycall is as follows. Anna and her 8-year-old son Anders move into a large apartment building in the outskirts of Oslo to seek refuge from Anna's abusive ex-husband. Her increasing paranoia over the welfare of her son sees her purchase a baby monitor. Soon strange noises from other apartments appear on the monitor, and Anna overhears what might be the murder of a child. So the movie starts off with Anna. She's living in Oslo. She has escaped her abusive ex-husband, who she claims tried to kill her son Anders. So she's taken Anders and she's hidden away in this apartment complex. So she thinks that she's safe, but she takes extreme precautions in order to protect her son, who she constantly says is her life and is her meaning to living. So you can tell that she's a very good mother, but at the same time, her paranoia is starting to have a negative effect on Anders. So she doesn't let him go to school in the fear that the ex-husband might find him, and she doesn't even let him sleep in his own bed. Basically Anders has to sleep in Anna's bed. So one day she realizes that it's a little bit unfair on Anders, and that she's going to try and give him every opportunity to lead a normal childhood. So she allows him to go to school, and she also allows him to sleep in his own bed, as long as he has a baby monitor inside his room so that she can hear what's going on through the night. So she sits next to a bed, constantly listening to this baby monitor, and then one evening she hears what appears to be the murder of a child. She's freaked out. She runs into Anders' room. She finds out that Anders is still sleeping, so it's not him. In fact, the monitor has intercepted another channel, and this channel was within the vicinity of 50 meters, so it didn't happen outside this apartment complex. So she's constantly fearing now that something really bad is lurking outside the apartment. So she takes Anders back, and she's basically having this ever-growing sense of control over Anders, which is threatening to destroy Anders and at the same time destroy her, because she's absolutely worry-stricken, and she is not knowing whether or not there is a murderer, or in fact it's just her overprotective nature. So that's what I'm going to give in the synopsis. What happens at that point on, that's something you're going to have to find out for yourself. Now my thoughts on Babycall. I think the reason why I love Babycall so much was the fact that it's a throwback to old Alfred Hitchcock type of movies. It's not about what you see, it's about what you're feeling. And this movie really does creep under your skin, and it sends out a really creepy atmosphere. I thought the setting of the apartment complex works brilliantly. There's a lot of shots of empty corridors, there's a lot of closed doors, and you feel to yourself that when you hear the scream of this child, you don't know what room it was in, but you know it was within this complex, so that anybody who's walking through the corridors could have been a really bad person. So you don't know where the threat is coming from, but you know the threat is around. So it's a constant mind game, and Paul Slatan, the director, does a very good job at creating something that is incredibly psychological. It's not a gory film. There's a little bit of blood at the end, but it doesn't rely on gore. What it relies is good old-fashioned Alfred Hitchcock style of horror, where it's just a slow build-up, and it just intensifies as it goes along. Now, the acting was absolutely incredible. Noomi Rapace, who plays Anna, was a really sympathetic character. The thing I liked about the characters the most was that there was a level of mystery to them. You get enough insight into them to care for them, but there was always that mystery. So when each character is introduced, when they betray their likable qualities, that sense of mystery leaves doubt in the mind as to whether or not they might be evil. And so each character has that. So yes, on one hand you like them, but on the other hand you start to doubt them. So there's always that paranoia that's feeding not only through their minds, but also your mind. So this is a case of transferring the feeling that the movie has through the screen into the viewer. And his other film, Paul Slatan's other film called Next Door, while it didn't have that sense of dread and psychological atmosphere, it was a very surreal film, a very visual movie, and I thought that paid tribute to David Lynch, Roman Polanski films. Whereas this one is more of a Alfred Hitchcock style of film. So Next Door was a good movie, but unfortunately with Next Door it was all on face value. Once you saw the film, you didn't have to see it again. Yes, it was memorable, but after a while it starts to fade. Whereas Babycall strikes you with a real experience, because at first the twists and turns that come into the film are very overwhelming, and you think to yourself, well, it was too ambitious, it didn't make sense, but for some reason it lingers in the mind, and the more you think about it, the more you piece things together and the more sense it makes, and so it makes you want to go back and see it again. So it's a very multi-layered film, and for that I was so glad I bought it, because it's not often that these sort of movies do that. As I said, it's all about face value. It's all about what you see. It doesn't leave a lasting impression, but Babycall really did for me. I thought the soundtrack was incredibly haunting as well, and just the pacing of the film was really good. That's something Pau Town does very well in these films. They're quite short, and they get to the point, and they don't sort of meander along. It's just a very nice pace. It starts off slow in Babycall, but then as the movie goes along, the plot thickens, and it gets more and more interesting. And then right at the end, you think to yourself, well, that was a little bit too much to take in. But you stop, you analyze the film, and then it makes sense. And that, to me, is why the movie works so well. So yeah, the setting was the best part of the film. I think, as I said, that not knowing where the threat was coming from was the most scary part, and the fact that the line between delusion and paranoia and reality was very thin. So you don't know whether or not Anna is seeing things or hearing things because of her overprotective nature, or in fact it's real. So the threat is never confined to one area; it's all around. And that's what makes you feel like you're not in control, and therefore that's, to me, what a scary film is all about. And that, to me, is what Babycall is all about. It's just a good old-fashioned horror film that relies on a forgotten art. Today, these days, it's all about blood and gore, but Babycall relies on the good old-fashioned Hitchcock sort of ability in creating a great atmosphere, some great performances from the acting. Christopher Yonner, who was also in Next Door, plays a superb role as a very different style of character, so it shows his versatility. And as I said, each character has a level of mystery to them, so you're kind of doubting as to whether or not each character is hiding something. And it appears that as the movie goes along, there's some little clues into these characters. And as I said, you don't know where the threat is coming from, and that's what leaves it so uncertain, and that's what makes it scary. So overall, for Babycall, I would highly recommend it, not only if you're a fan of Scandinavian horror, but horror films in general. This one is a really good one, and it is coming highly, highly recommended. So overall, for Babycall, I'm going to give it 4 stars. Go out there and see it. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.